Good evening everybody and welcome live to Brands Hatch in Great Britain for the first of 36 races for the brand new BSR Kia Cup series. It's been a long time coming. We had the World Series on Saturday nights, the Club Series on Sunday nights, and we thought we'd pull them all together and race on a Saturday night. And this is the first race meeting of 12 over the next few weeks and months. Well, hello everybody, I'm Adam Bath and alongside me is Dave Christie with Samuli Kumo on the cameras, and we can't wait to get the action underway. At the moment we've got a 15-minute qualifying session to set the grid for the first of 3 15-minute races, and we have got some big names on the grid, and Dave Christie will be along shortly. In fact, he's with us now. Dave, welcome. And yeah, we've got a fantastic season prospect here.
Yeah, it's good to be back with the Kias. We all know how much I love them. But yeah, it's we've seen it through the previous season. It's been some fantastic races, Adam. Incredibly close. They're not afraid of a little bit of bumping and rubbing. And yeah, it's going to be special tonight.
We're at the Brands Hatch circuit. A circuit you like, or do you find it pretty challenging in the Kia Optima?
I have literally no opinion on Brands. I mean, it's one of those that really kind of doesn't stand out. I mean, for me, the big selling point is obviously turn one. That big sweeping, diving corner, the right-hander. Very, very fast. That's usually where you get all the carnage. I mean, we see that from loads of other series. That's where the main action point is, but for the rest of the track it's all going to be about slipstreaming, I think, for these Kias.
Well, we'll run you through the rules for this first race meeting of the season. The teams that are involved, they'll have 4 full-time drivers, however only the top 3 of them can score. There will be a tier 1 and a tier 2, similar to the rules of the Club Series that we ran on Sunday nights the last year or so on Apex Racing TV. So tier 1 made up of the pro drivers, the cream of the crop really of the grid, and the tier 2, the up and coming drivers. They'll be running in their own championship, and of course there'll be a teams championship where usually the majority of the prize money will go. Race 1, which is what's coming up in a few moments here, is under morning conditions. Race 2 will be in afternoon conditions, and race 3 late afternoon, evening conditions. So the drivers will be faring in 3 different temperatures and ambient conditions throughout the races. The second and third races will be reversed with a reverse grid wheel, which we're all too familiar with here on Apex Racing TV. The numbers will be between 16 and 26. Plus chances of a full reverse grid, and if you're new to that, the full is determined by the amount of classified finishers, which goes down to the last car finishing 1 lap down. So it's all really stuff that if you followed the Kia races before on Apex Racing TV, they'll be all too familiar with. And Dave, the reverse grid, it always provides up a lot of action as well, and we're going to be seeing it again here tonight.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the great thing about the reverse grid, Adam, is that it really does shake things up. It's never guaranteed. It's never always a full grid. It can, it goes whatever the wheel actually gives us. But it gives a nice mix into the evening's events, because obviously if you've had a bit of a rough race and you're maybe down in the low 20s or whatever, your luck might be through and you might get right to the front row of the grids. And more often than not, it gives the faster drivers a bit of a challenge, because they've got to then work their way back up if they end up at the back of the grid or midfield through the pack. And we've seen some spectacular drives through some of the other series there, Adam, from drivers absolutely ploughing their way through the field. So yeah, it does make for exciting watching and a really, really nice addition.
Well, we're running through the calendar for this season. We start tonight at Brands Hatch before heading to Suzuka next week. Completely different style of racetrack there. Then we head to Watkins Glen, the classic layout, before we end January at Interlagos, the long straights, providing lots of slipstreaming and always provides fantastic racing there. Then heading into February, we go to Phillip Island in Australia before Sonoma in California in America. Then we head to Road Atlanta in Georgia before ending the season at Lime Rock. Then we go and we continue onwards to Zolder. Then the season ends in March with Zolder, Imola, Sebring and the end of the season party at Silverstone at the start of April. So plenty to keep us occupied over the next 12 weeks. Which round for you stands out on that calendar day?
Oh, so many different ones. I quite like the idea of going to Zolder. These cars with a mid-range power are really going to have lots and lots of fun there, so I'm probably looking forward to that one. But Sebring as well, I've got such a soft spot for Sebring, so yeah, could be one of the two of them.
Yeah, we haven't seen a Kia race in Sebring in quite a long time. It was a crucial race in the Pro Series a few years ago, which helped out Sebastian Joven getting his first BSR TC title. Well, let's turn our attention to qualifying. We've got just under 7.5 minutes left on the clock, and some big names you can see inside the top 10. We've got Stelin Chepalevsky, regular BSR TC racer. Paul Smith, who was commentating on the Club Series last season. He's now in the car, which will be interesting to watch, and I'm sure we'll poke a bit of fun at him over the next few race meetings. Lewis Bibby in third, a World Series winner, beat yours truly to a race back in the day. Ben Hackerson currently fourth, Matt Bunn fifth, sixth I believe is Diogo Melro, which is the reigning Club Series champion. Maciej Sakovic is back, he's in seventh. Jackie Lotterman, has been shining recently in the Mazda MX-5s and is doing equally so in the Kia tonight, with Richard Gore in 9th and Peter Van Gool in 10th. So some familiar names up there inside the top 10 day.
Yeah, I mean, we're obviously used to the big names like Van Gool, Lewis Bibby especially has been doing very well in the previous seasons. Chepalevsky though, probably the highest name so far. Some of the ones that we are used to seeing as well, not so far up the order, say Robert Plumley, Stephen Minton we're used to seeing up the top 10 of the order, but yeah, it's nice to see the regulars and some especially new faces as well into this challenge. Yeah,
it is. Just some other names looking through the grid. We've got Ben Gregory, also back for another season, Craig Evans, Tristan Bodis, who I think won the Tier 2 in the Club Series last season, Kip Stevens, two-time champion in the BSR TC, of course. And many others all back to give it a go. Adam Hadfield just putting his Kia up into 13th place. And now the nature of this Brands Hatch circuit, Dave, it's not too long, and therefore traffic can become quite a bit of an issue on these qualifying laps.
Yeah, especially as we spoke about earlier, my favourite turn being Paddock Hill Bend turn 1. That leads on to one of the biggest bottlenecks of the course, Druids. It's that tight right-hander as well. The rest of the circuit does open up, so the rest of the circuit, when it gets to, like, say, Pilgrim's Drop or it's coming up to Clearways, some nice long straights there, Adam, so the Kias really do get to stretch their legs at that point, and the toe being so important, it really is all about that first technical part of the circuit to get a good run out and then set themselves up for the rest of the lap.
What do you reckon are the key overtaking spots on this circuit? We've got the extra bit of the Grand Prix circuit, but I don't really see any of the key overtaking spots being on that section of the course. Probably Druids?
Yeah, I mean, Druids, it's going to be the battle of the late breakers on that one. Certainly, I mean, like I said, with the toe that you get in the Kia and how important the slipstream is going to be, I think the straights are going to be the key for things. So, like, say, Hawthorns especially is going to be a good place for watching overtaking, and possibly Clearways going into the Clark Curve.
Few minutes to go then in this qualifying session. Diogo Melro just exiting Clearways now. He's got Paul Smith in front of him as well as Jackie Lotterman. We'll see if any of these guys are able to improve on their time. Lotterman comes across the line and does doesn't do a time. 28.4 for Paul Smith. However, Diogo Melro does a 28.3, and that puts him up into third position. Personal best from him, and it's only just under a tenth of a second behind the pole position time of Stelin Chepalevsky. So good lap there from Diogo Melro, and what is looking like a very close grid for the first race meeting of the season, Dave.
Yeah, and Adam, I've got to be honest, I'm very glad you pointed out that was Diogo Melro, because obviously his name comes up as his nickname on here, so I had absolutely no idea who that was. But yeah, I mean, Melro's another name that we've seen throughout all the series that's run here by the BSR team, and it's going to be interesting to see how he can do that tonight, if he's going to be able to live up to the challenge.
Thank goodness for an entry list, Dave. That's all I'm saying. I was just looking to see what number 84, what driver number 84 was, and thankfully Diogo Mello in there. He's driving for, as you can probably see, Team Discovery, a team that raced in the World Series last season. Some familiar teams you might be aware of. We've got GBR that was racing in the Club Series last season, as well as Team Automech. Bermuda World Series team, they're racing here in the new BSR Kia Cup Series. Radical Racing UK also there. They were represented in the Club Series last season. Team Mad, which won the Teams Championship the year Diogo Mello won his first Club Series title. The Youth Energy, the Souls team, Discovery, as we were just saying. So quite a few names, familiar drivers, familiar teams, all on the grid. And Paul Smith, Dave, he commentated on the series last season, and it shows he's not too shabby in a Kia either. He's on the front row of the grid at the moment.
Yeah, well, there's that running joke, isn't there, Adam, about if you can't drive, then you commentate. But yeah, certainly not the case for Paul Smith. And it's nice to see that obviously we switch about. I mean, I obviously do some of the series that we do here as well. And you know, it's not just a case of that we talk about things. We love getting involved, and we love taking part, Adam. I've known you to take part in a few races as well, and it's very difficult actually to commentate on the race, because you're watching it and every instinct you've got is like, I want to go and take part in that, I want to go and get a bit of the action, but yeah, it's for the greater good, I guess.
Yeah, trust me, you don't know what you're missing out on. I did one race meeting in the World Series last season at Donington. Absolutely enjoyed all of it, and even though it might have been slightly, you might say, over the limit, before going into that race meeting, I definitely did enjoy it. And if you want to get involved in the series, you can find out all the information about the new BSR Kia Cup series at bsrhub.com. And yeah, if you fancy joining us, we can't wait to see you on the grid. One thing I have noticed for this season is we do have a fixed setup for this series, which is a rule that we carried over from the Club Series. I think it carried over from the World Series as well, and it continues, Dave, to help us find the best person out on track, because everyone's got the same setup.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's the interesting thing about the setup is I was reading a very interesting article actually on driving improvement, and you know, one of the first things we do when we're getting into learning a new track is we'll go and look for a good setup. And realistically, I mean, you're actually better spending more time focusing on honing your driving style, Adam, and learning the track, because a good setup is only really going to get you around about 2 to 3 seconds, 2 to 3 tenths of a second per lap, whereas focusing on your driving style is really, you look at the order of the field that we've got just now, the whole field separated, if we exclude Garth Hicklin and Michael Barry, by 1.9 seconds.
Wow.
That really does sort of showcase how good this fixed setup is if you're willing to put the time in and learn the track.
Setup provided by none other than Ash Sutton, BTCC race winner and multiple race winner in the Kia Optima. And after a good season in the BTCC MG, we'll hopefully see him back on the grid this year in 2017. And Ash Sutton, I don't think, is racing with us tonight, but yeah, Ash Sutton providing the setup here. Checker flag is now out, so drivers on their final flying laps, and we'll see if there are any changes to the grid. Craig Evans is just rounding clearways now. We'll see if he's able to improve his time. Craig Evans currently 16th, comes across the line and does a 129.169, and that is not enough to improve his time. Next few cars coming across the line, we've got the likes of Paul Smith coming over the line, I believe. Yes, he does. Paul Smith comes over the line, does a 128.3, just a tenth of a second slower than his personal best. Kip Stevens improves, he's up to 18th. Nathan Davis, 128.532. That is a very good time. It puts him up into 7th place. Massive improvement on his personal best. Other cars coming across the line now. See if anyone is able to improve. I think that's pretty much everyone. Yes, it is. Thomas Gibson, the last car across the line. Well, Stalin Chapalevsky on pole position, then Dave, Paul Smith next to him. But yeah, you're talking about how close the times are, especially towards the back end of the top 10. Adam Hadfield and Maciek Sakovic in particular, separated by, what's that, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the point I was trying to make here. It is really, really down to the wire when it comes to trying to get an advantage here. And with 10 seconds to go, I'm just really, really looking forward to things kicking off here, because it's one thing getting a good grid position, but as we've seen from all the other races here with BSR, it means nothing until you actually get onto the grid.
Now to put on a show in the BSR series. Well, let's run you through the starting grid then as the cars start to make their way towards the grid. Stelin Chepelevsky starts on pole position, Paul Smith second, Diogo Melrose starts in third with Lewis Bibby fourth, Ben Hackerson in fifth with Matt Bunn in sixth, Nathan Davis starting in seventh, Adam Hadfield eighth, Maciej Sakovic in ninth, a former Club Series champion of course, and Jackie Lotterman rounds out the top 10. Richard Gore in 11th, Stuart McFadden in 12th, Thomas Gibson starting in 13th, 14th Peter Van Gaal, 15th Tristan Bodis, 16th Craig Evans, 17th Ben Gregory, 18th Tobias Olsen, 19th Kip Stevens and Alexander Lauritsen the top 20. Max Wright starting in 21st, Stephen Baxter 22nd, Adam McNally in 23rd, Adam Delmont in 24th, 25th for Lorne Murray, 26th for Scott Malcolm, Rob Plumley 27th. No doubt there'll be a stream of this race going on from him. Forstein Helgeson starting in 28th with Stephen Minton 29th and 30th for Dave Crozier. Jamie Ayres starting in 31st, Lyndon Swaby 32nd, Jason Greenfield 33rd, Gavin Wakefield in 34th, 35th Steve Walker, former BSRTC winner, 36th for Gareth Hickling, Michael Barry in 37th, and then Cesare Rizzo 38th, Ethan McColgan in 39th, and Adai King in 40th. Those three not setting a time. Well, Dave, there's so many big names inside the top 10, but can you pick a winner from those guys for this first race of the day?
Just like I want to pretend like I know what I'm talking about, Lewis Bibby. He's an incredibly strong racer. He's very, very good chance with being in fourth place.
Here we go then. The first race of the BSR Hub Kia Series is underway. Chepelevsky gets away well. Paul Smith should be able to get across in second place. No, he won't, because up the inside goes Diogo Melro into turn one. So good start from him. Paul Smith will just hold on round the outside, so he's able to hold on to it. And now we all head up towards Druids Hill. Ben for the first time up Halewood Hill, and Melro is still there. He's up the inside through Druids. Paul Smith might still respond, and I think it looks like we've got through the first two corners without incident. Paul Smith is going to have to yield though, or is he? He's still there, Dave, as we head towards 30s.
Yeah, that's right, and all the cars wiggling about quite a lot there. As contact between Paul Smith and Diogo Melro. Paul Smith has to give up place there, and yeah, that was, kind of saw that one coming, or was that Melro that had to go back to third place there? I think it was actually the other way about there, but that's sacrificed the line there, and yeah, wow, Bibby with a fantastic start there.
Yeah, Diogo Melro getting hit by the car behind him, which was Ben Hackerson, and now who's that up the inside? That's Lewis Bibby, so the man is on the move, was talking about earlier, but he's under pressure again from the CQR car. Maciej Sakovic, formidable name in the Kia of course, and the CQR car in front of them, which is Matt Bunn. So Matt Bunn up inside the top 10, good start from Nathan Davis at 2 positions, and Sakovic at 1 as well. Some bad starts as well, and in the grid, Jackie Losman down 2 positions, down to 12th place for them. Scott Malcolm also down 2 positions, so some not good starts for some of those guys either. But we come across the timing line to complete the first lap. It's Chepelevsky leading the way, second Paul Smith, third Diogo Melro, fourth is Ben Hackerson with Nathan Davis behind him in fifth, sixth is Matt Bunn with Lewis Bibby harassing him in seventh, eighth Maciej Sakovic, ninth Adam Hadfield, and Richard Gore rounding out the top 10.
Yep, and look at the gap now that's starting to be taken out by the leader, Chepelevsky, as he's now stretched that to well over a second there, as Paul Smith has got Diogo Melro well and truly all over his mirrors right now. That's going to allow Chepelevsky to get away there, and for Benjamin Hackson to catch up with the group in front, although he has got Nathan Davis, one of the MX-5 drivers we saw from the other night, doing very, very well to hold on to that place and move up to 5th place from 7th.
Yeah, showing that his skills transfer over from the MX-5. Always Maciej Sakovic and Adam Hadfield get a bit squirrely there through Hawthorns, and Sakovic might be about to lose out another position to Richard Gore. Richard Gore gets up the inside, going into Westfield Bend there, and that is not a good moment for Maciej Sakovic. He was ahead of Adam Hadfield and As Adam Hadfield goes off through Sheen Curve. Oh, huge crash in the background, Dave. Don't know what was going on there. Peter Van Gool and Tobias Olsen both off in the gravel.
Yeah, it's all kicking off, as I like to say, and are rejoined by Van Gool there, and it must have been the camera angle because that looked very, very close to getting hit by one of the other cars there, but that's going to drop Van Gool right down the order there. We've got a spinner off as well, and managing to hold on control of that car.
Lewis Bibby doing his own version of the Invisible Man. He has disappeared on my timing screen, but he is back. He's back in 7th place, and he's back again. And look at this in the background. We've got Maciek Sakovic, Stuart McFadden also involved in the mix here, and trying to turn in is Sakovic, but you'll find that there is a car called Stuart McFadden, and he's there, Dave.
Yeah, McFadden is one of the most polite drivers that you'll come across in this series, but on the racetrack he is not afraid to make his presence felt. Obviously one of the youngest drivers that we've actually got taking part in this competition, and definitely not afraid to mix it up with the big boys and girls here tonight.
Yeah, Lewis Bibby dropping down a few positions. He might be at the mercy here of Jackie Lotterman going into Westfield Bend, so not a good few corners for Lewis Bibby in that Team Mad car, and could be also under pressure from the car behind them. Thomas Gibson, new name to the series there. Up the inside goes Hadfield, Lotterman into Sheen Curve. Lewis Bibby still not giving up, will fight back into Sterling's.
Adam, I tell you what, looking back at the lead, that gap from Cheplevsky over Paul Smith is starting to come down. Cheplevsky having a horrible few corners there. That car is not looking happy at all, and I think that's going to bring the gap possibly down to under a second now.
Yeah, over the timing line they go to start lap 4 of the race. 1:28.1 for Stelian Chepelevsky comes across the line. That is his personal best, as Jackie Losman still well out of control. Oh, there's been a crash, and into the wall goes Alex Lauritsen, and that is not what the Team Discovery driver wanted. Just looking back on the replay, Dave, it looks like they were going 3 wide into Paddock Hill Bend, and that old saying 3 into 1 clearly doesn't go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's just very, very silly. At any time when you're maybe 5 minutes into the race and you think going 3 wide is a great idea, Adam, it's going to end in tears. It's not worth it. It's a long race. Just hold on.
Lewis Bibby's off in the wall. Oh no, so that's curse of the commentator for the first time for the season. I'm sorry, Dave. But yeah, looking on the replay, Bibby together with Gibson, and I think that you could call that the first quarter panel of this new BSR Kia Cup series.
Yeah, he was starting to have some real problems with that car because he was just dropping like a stone, but well, never mind for him. That's a shame. I'm sure he'll do better in race 2, but what a race we've got going on between Paul Smith, Diogo Melro and Benjamin Haxon for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. They are absolutely inseparable right now, as Diogo Melro is all over the rear panel of Paul Smith right now.
Over the timing line we go to start lap 5 of the race. Just under 9 minutes left here. Paul Smith, you could say, is holding up Diogo Melro. Melro was trying to get past him at the start of the race, but couldn't do so. Was helped wide by Ben Hackerson, of course, who is still in this battle. Smith goes wide though into Druids, and this is Melro's opportunity. He tries to get the cut back on the exit towards Graham Hill Bend, but can't find the way through, and that is an early warning shot, Dave.
Absolutely, and look at this now. Diogo Melro is absolutely insistent, but he's going to have to be careful because he leaves himself compromised, and that means Benjamin Haxon can try and move in through on the inside of that corner there, but he's going to have to shuffle back to as you were. But wow, and this is what I always love in these races. This is when you can tell, watch these drivers in the next race, in the next couple of laps, this is now going to come ahead, because Diogo Melro is absolutely frustrated. He knows he can get past Paul Smith, Adam, and he's just really, really chomping at the bit, and it's either going to be a mistake or there's going to be contact between the 3 cars.
Two-time Kia Club Series champion and Diogo Melro trying to get past Paul Smith, the former Club Series commentator, with Ben Hackerson there in 4th position. This is a battle over 2nd place on track. Behind these 3, you can see we've got Matt Bunn, who might be about to concede the place to Nathan Davis, and I think he has. Nathan Davis up another position to 5th, Matt Bunn down to 6th, and Adam Hadfield in 7th, so another fighting trio there as we come across the line. Let's check back in the battle for 2nd. Paul Smith having to get past lap traffic, and that's what the drivers don't want. Michael Barry there in that Radicals car, almost causing a whole load of issues for those three fighting for second.
Yeah, that is literally the worst place that you want to come across back marker, but Michael, to give him credit, did everything he could, just moved right out the way, and there was absolutely nothing he could do. But we're now starting to see Paul Smith getting put under real pressure, running wide there, and Diogo Melro is just absolutely waiting right now. He could not be closer to Paul Smith's exhaust if he tried.
I'm sure he's enjoying it as well in the background. Adam Hadfield's trying to go side by side with someone, but Diogo Melro looking to the inside into Hawthorns. This is one of the part of the circuits that we were talking about at the beginning of the programme, and no way through yet for Diogo Melro. Paul Smith doing what he needs to do. He's not really taking any defensive lines, but you can see Diogo Melro is just really eating away at the rear end of that Kia Optima. Ben Hackerton just watching this, hoping that he doesn't get caught up in any incident that these two could get involved in. Through Sheen Curve and now into Stirling's, the penultimate corner on the circuit. Now on our way towards Clearways, just over 6 minutes left on the clock. And you really got to say that this battle's surely going to come to a head over the next few laps. Diogo Melro just trying his best to get past. Nathan Davis in 5th, 6th Matt Bunn, 7th Adam Hadfield, 8th is now Richard Gore. Then it's a bit of a way back to Stuart McFadden and Maciej Sakovic rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, and the problem is for Benjamin Hackerson, he's really the one that's got the most difficult job right now, because Paul Smith and Diogo Melro are fighting it out. He's just got to try and stay in contention, knowing these two are slowing each other up, but not run into the back of the pair of them. And the thing with Diogo Melro is you can watch from his line, he's smooth, he's hitting every apex, but watch Paul Smith when he's coming out the corners as well. That car is snapping with oversteer, and he's really fighting to control that. I was going to say, I think it's a little bit harsh to say that he's slowing the rest of the field down, but watching this last lap, I think it's now Cheplevsky is running away with this one unless they can get past.
It's only a 15-minute race, Dave, but could we be calling tyre wear into the equation here?
It depends. I wouldn't say for Hackerson, because he's out of the three of these guys, he's having to do the least amount of work. For Paul Smith, absolutely, it's a possibility, as Hackerson makes a look up the inside there. No such luck, but he's obviously just wanting to give Diogo Melro a little bit of a warning shot, say, hello, I'm here. But back to the question about tyre wear, Adam, I don't think so. Unless you're driving defensively, as Paul Smith is, yeah, that's going to drain the tyres a little bit more. But I think these tyres can hold up a little bit more than just 15 minutes, depending on how aggressive you are with the driving.
And Hackerson slipping and sliding his way through paddock, and he's just holding on to the coattails of Paul Smith and Diogo Melro. 4 minutes and 13 seconds left on the clock. Plumley and Lorne Murray were just changing positions there. That was a battle just outside the top 15 over 6th and 17th place, so battles all the way through the field. Max Wright also disposing of Lorne Murray as well, so these guys moving their way up through the order. Rob Plumley up 10 positions. That'll be something to watch on his stream later on, or you could watch it right now, but please stay with us here on Apex Racing TV. Down the straight we go. Pilgrim's drop towards Hawthorne Bend. Still Paul Smith leading the way from Diogo Melro in the battle for second place on the circuit. As in comparing their lap times to Stelin Cheplevsky out front, Paul Smith doing a 28.8 or 28.9 really last time around. 128.5 for Stelin Cheplevsky, and the BSR TC race winner and nearly champion a few seasons ago. Really showing his class at the moment. A good 2-second lead. Who was that off that they've just passed? That was Jason Greenfield in 37th place. He was having all sorts of problems. He was battling, just looking on the replay, with Adam McNally, and he got hit from behind, and he went off into the gravel.
That's unfortunate, but I'm watching this battle for 5th place at the moment. They are stretching out a little bit, and it was looking like, for a little while at least, the 4-car battle for 5th, involving Nathan Davis, Matthew Bunn, Adam Hadfield and Richard Gore, was going to become a 6-car event there, but that's one of the back markers there, and I'm just trying to see who that is.
Addy King, I think. And Nathan Davis trying to get by. He'll be singing the Blue Flag song in a moment, and that is not what you want, dear me. What's Addy King doing there? You don't want to park your car there. That's really where the racing line is.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That is nothing more, Adam, than just sheer nerves. Obviously, just wanting to do his own race as Addy King, just trying to stay out everyone's way, and maybe, you know, lesson learned. It's harsh, but yeah, these things happen, unfortunately, with newcomers to the series.
Yeah, you want to get out of the way, but yeah, I don't think stopping is going to be the best part of that. Meanwhile, we seem to have dropped Ben Hackerson now from this fight over second place. He's just a few tenths of a second back of these two now, Diogo Melro and Paul Smith. When we get to the line, we should be starting the penultimate lap, Dave.
Yep, that's right, and I'll tell you what, we've got an absolute belter of a race going on right now down at 17th place. Robert Plumley is fighting, I think that's Adam Delmont, Max Wright and Lauren Murray that are all involved there. It is just an absolute melee of cars right now, and they are swapping positions left, right and centre, Adam.
Yeah, they're just coming up on Addy King now. Oh, yeah, they get past him just about. Max Wright leading Robert Plumley onto the front straight here. The Automech car of Max Wright, of course. Plumley wanting to gain another place. Could have a little look up the inside into Paddock Hill Bend. Isn't able to get alongside, but he's got the better drive on the entry to the corner. Is he going to be able to utilise that on the exit? He's all sorts of off-road there, going into Druids. And that might allow Lorne Murray the opportunity to get a piece of the action. Nearly gets it. And in the background, you can see Stephen Minton, Scott Malcolm, and Forstein Helgeson all having a great battle as well. And this is quite important, Dave, because these positions could be pretty crucial in the reverse grid.
Yeah, that's right. It's all about that reverse grid now by Paul Smith and Diogo Melro side by side. And Melro makes the move. He's done it. Takes over from Paul Smith there and into second place after all that fighting. But it's Paul Smith on the inside again. Surely not.
Oh, Paul Smith fighting back. Diogo Melro's on the grass. He's back on into Stirling's. Paul Smith will surely try and go around the outside, which will become the inside line for Clearways. Fantastic racing, and this has allowed Ben Hackerson to get right back onto the back of these guys going into Clearways. Paul Smith back up the inside. Second place is his for now. Paul, oh no!
Huge contact there! Wow, saw that one coming a mile off. Benjamin Hackerson had nowhere to go and takes out Diogo Melro there. A huge impact there. And I'll tell you what, inside that car, Adam, there is going to be all shades of blue right now.
And a very frustrated Diogo Melro. He was trying to go for the cutback on the exit of Clearways, but then Ben Hackerson had the momentum and the speed, went for that gap on the inside line, and it was just going to close up. And that is a quarter panel and a half, and Diogo Melro off into that tyre barrier that separates the pit lane from the racetrack. And that is definitely not what Diogo Melro wanted, the reigning Club Series champion, and that is not the way he wanted to start this new BSR Kia Cup Series.
I might not be making very many friends saying this, but I've got, you know, Diogo Melro should have been more aware of that. He should have been aware of Benjamin Hackerson in that area, in his mirrors, before he went to make that move. Obviously, it was a split-second decision, and at those sorts of speeds, you're very limited with the reactions that you can do, but you've got to say that's pretty poor spatial awareness there from Diogo Melro.
One person that hasn't had to worry about spatial awareness is Stelian Chepelewski. He started on the pole and hasn't looked back, and going into the final corner, Clearways is being an easy ride to victory for the Discovery driver. Is he out of fuel? He's very slow, or maybe he just has that much in hand that he can cruise to victory in race one of the BSR Kia Cup Series. Second for Paul Smith, and Ben Hackerson finishes in third place after it all kicked off in Clearways a lap ago. Nathan Davis comes across the line fourth, Matt Bunn fifth, Adam Hadfield sixth, Gore seventh, all under a blanket there. Maciek Sakovic eighth, Stuart McFadden ninth, and Thomas Gibson rounding out the top 10. Plumley comes across the line ahead of Max Wright in the end. Lorne Murray has vanished. He was battling with these guys at the start of the final lap. I've got a feeling that might be a disqualification for Lorne Murray. Just looking back on my replay. Yeah, it might just look like a disconnect, actually. I don't think he got disqualified at all, but problems there for Lorne Murray in the closing stages of the race. But, well, that battle for second place, it was the centre of attention, Dave, and, yeah, definitely provided fireworks at the end. But Stelian Chepelewski, fantastic job to take his first win of the season.
Yeah, that's right. It's been a fantastic race all round. I've got to say, a very well-deserved podium there for Benjamin Hackerson.
Yeah, fantastic job from Hackerson, and Diogo Melro will be ruining his missed opportunities of getting that second place. If he got it at the start, he might not have been in that situation, but he finishes race 1 of the season in what looks like 36th place. He might be in luck, he might be still a classified finisher, and if we get a full, he will be on pole position, and talk about a change of fortune that could be for him. But let's run you through the finishing order then of the first race of the season. Adam McNally, by the way, just coming across the line. He is the last car on the lead lap, finishes in 32nd place. And for Diogo Melro, he finishes 2 laps down, so he won't be able to get pole position if we get a full. So it just goes from bad to worse for Melro. Stelin Chepelevsky takes the win though. His teammate, on the other hand, Diogo Melro's teammate Stelin Chepelevsky takes the win. The opening race meeting of the season and the opening race meeting of the BSR Kia Cup Series. Paul Smith finishing in second, 1.8 seconds behind at the end. And Hackerson rounding out the podium in third. 4th for Nathan Davis, 5th for Matt Bunn, 6th Adam Hadfield, 7th for Richard Gore after gaining 4 positions during the race for him. That's a good ride through the field there. Maciek Sakovic finishing in 8th, Stuart McFadden in 9th, rounding out the top 10, Thomas Gibson in his first race in the Kia. 11th for Ben Gregory, 12th for Tristan Bodis, Adam Delmont finishing in 13th after starting in 24th, so a good 11 positions gained during the race for him. Craig Evans finishing it in 14th, 15th Kip Stevens, 16th for Rob Plumley. He managed to gain 11 spots as well. A good fight through the field from him. Max Wright finishing in 17th, 18th for Scott Malcolm, 19th Stephen Minton, and 20th for Forstein Helgerson. Jamie Ayres managed to gain 10 spots. He finished in 21st. Steve Walker, 35th to 22nd. 23rd for Dave Crozier. Lyndon Swaby finishing in 24th, 25th for Cesare Rizzo, 26th for Gavin Wakefield, Peter Van Gool 27th, 28th for Stephen Baxter, Jackie Lotterman 29th, and Ethan McColgan finishing in 30th, 31st for Gareth Hickling, Adam McNally 32nd, Law Murray finishing 1 lap down in 33rd, a late disconnect for him, but he's still a classified finisher. Addy King was able to get 34th in the end, finished 1 lap down. Lewis Bibby also 1 lap down, finished in 35th. Diogo Melro 2 laps down after getting involved in that crash with Ben Hackerson on the exit of Clearways with 1 lap to go. Jason Greenfield 6 laps down. Michael Barry 7 laps down. Alex Lauritsen out early on, and Tobias Olsen running into issues on the opening lap of the race and finished in 40th place. To pick out a driver of the race from that opening one, Dave, I think Rob Plumley stands out.
Yeah, Plumley definitely does. I mean, the easy choice for me would be Chepelevsky. Just absolutely controlled the race, was never in doubt, and a really, really strong drive for him. Plumley, I think, fought very, very hard, but I think he had quite a few places gifted to him by a lot of the drama happening up front. So it's a bit difficult for me, but for me it'll be Chepelevsky.
Yeah, dominant drive there in the opening race meeting of the opening race of the season. We've still got 2 more races to go, and let's set the grid for race 2. The reverse grid wheel will be brought up onto the screen, and the cars that are eligible are positions 16 to 26 plus some falls in there. So let's run you through the drivers that are eligible. Rob Plumley, he got that 16th place. Max Wright, Scott Malcolm, Stephen Minton, Forstein Helgerson, Jamie Ayres, Steve Walker, Dave Crozier, Lyndon Swaby, Cesare Rizzo, Gavin Wakefield, and if we have a full, he'll put Lewis Bibby onto pole. And it is a full. We have the first full of the season in race 1 of the season, and that will put 35 cars reverse. Lewis Bibby will be starting on pole position. Addy King, a trip into the unknown for you. You'll be starting on the front row of the grid. Lorne Murray starting in 3rd, so a silver lining to that disconnect, you could say. Adam McNally starting 4th, and Gareth Hickling starting in 5th. So a pretty interesting grid lined up for the second race day.
Yeah, that's right, but I tell you what, I would love to be a fly on the wall listening to Diogo Melro right now, because he is not going to be a happy bunny crashing out that first race, and also missing out on any potential of getting a decent recovery on that. We've seen good recovery drives. I mean, he's going to have to try and drive to set himself up for race 3, but yeah, all hell's going to break loose now. 35 car reverse grids. Lewis Bibby is no slow coach, put it that way, and you know, I'll maybe have to try and make what I can and hope he can get a win on race 2, but certainly it's going to shake things up.
Well, that's race 1 of 36 in the books, and we've got 35 cars reversed for race 2. Join us after the break, where we'll be getting onto the grid and getting race 2 of the BSR Kia Cup series underway.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance Series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate in races ranging from 3 hours to 24 hours. Additional partners include NASCAR, IMSA, V8 Supercars, IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst 1000, Daytona 500, and many more. iRacing.com, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car.
Truex in the outside, contact made, 56 slides it at a 4, who's going to be at the stripe, dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life.
Welcome back to Apex Racing TV and iRacing Live for the second race of the day here in the first season of the BSR Kia Cup Series. We're here at Brands Hatch. Great first race, and we've now got a full reverse grid, 35 cars reversed for the second race of the day, and the temperatures continue to rocket up here in Kent. 23 degrees ambient temperature, 35 degrees though. This tarmac baking under the afternoon sun here at Brands Hatch. And Dave, if tyre wear wasn't already an issue for some of these guys in race one, I think it's going to play just a little bit of a factor here in the second race.
Yes, this is going to resemble more of an ice rink towards the later stages of the race, Adam. It's going to provide some thrilling action in the later stages. For the start though as well, I mean the tyres are going to be incredibly cold, and they'll be sliding about with understeer, whereas at the end they'll just be struggling for grip altogether.
We saw some great battles in race one, in particular the battle between Paul Smith, Diogo Melro and Ben Hackerson for second place.
Yeah, and interestingly, it's possibly that we could get that again, because obviously Paul Smith's going to be towards the back of the grids with that reverse grid, and he's going to be beside his old friend Diogo Melrose, so it'll be interesting to see if there's any love lost. But to be fair, Paul Smith wasn't even involved in that accident. He didn't touch Diogo Melrose in any way whatsoever, and I think it's going to be between Diogo and Benjamin Hackerson. So it'll be interesting to see what the comments were during the downtime of the races, but we're seeing indeed Diogo Melrose firing in the warning shots there with the fastest practice time so far with a 1:28.8, still around about 6/10 off what we were seeing earlier on, but this track's going to be a little bit slower.
As Diogo Melro goes into the wall on the warm-up, but yeah, that is a good point.
I really didn't want to say that there. I just watched that unfold in front of me. Was that Addy Smith again? Sorry, Addy King.
It was Addy King, yes.
Oh dear.
And he just hit Diogo Melro, which is one phrase we didn't use in race one. But yeah, you're right. Paul Smith finished second in race one, so yeah, he's not going to be too far away from Diogo Melro at all when we get down to the grid in just over a minute's time. And it's quite interesting from that grid, because I think Lewis Bibby, one person that you did pick out to watch out for in race one, Dave, I think he is actually on the pole position for race two, so he'll be able to show why you put such strong faith in him.
Well, I think it's from all the different series that I've seen him race in, he's been consistently fast. And he does have a lot of good potential. If he gets a good weekend, then he has a really good weekend. If he has a terrible one, you're going to be talking about him for all the wrong reasons. So hopefully race one was a blip, and to sort of get some credibility back as a commentator, I need him to do better in race two.
Addy King had another crash, but I'll move on from him, and I won't draw any more attention to him. It is just the warm-up after all. We're not too far away from getting down to the grid. If you're new to all of this is iRacing.com. It's an online simulation service, one of the best in the business really, and this is the BSR Kia Cup Series. If you want to know more about iRacing, just head over to iRacing.com. You just need a relatively new PC and a wheel and pedal set, which you can get pretty cheaply, and then you'll be on your way. You can use a controller. For the full effects of the service, we probably do recommend getting a wheel and pedal set. And yeah, to find out about the BSR Kia Cup Series, head over to bsrhub.com. Well, let's run you through the starting grid then for race two of the day here at Brands Hatch. Lewis Bibby on pole position, Addy King starting on the front row, Lorne Murray starting third, fourth Adam McNally, fifth is Gareth Hickling, sixth is Jackie Lotterman, seventh for Stephen Baxter, 8th Peter Van Gorn, 9th Gavin Wakefield, and in 10th it is Cesare Rizzo, Lyndon Swaby 11th, 12th David Crozier, Stephen Walker 13th, 14th Jamie Ayres, 15th Thorstein Helgeson, 16th Stephen Minton, Scott Malcolm 17th, 18th Max Wright, 19th Rob Plumley, 20th Kip Stevens, and some big names to look out for. Ben Gregory starting 24th, Maciek Sakovic starting 27th, Adam Hadfield 29th, Matt Bunn 30th, our race winner Stanislav Chapelewski starting in 34th place. Here we go then, the lights are on. And the green light's on and we're away for the second race here at Brands Hatch. And Addy King gets a reasonably good jump away from the line, but look who's that going through into second place. That is Lorne Murray. Addy King out of control. Oh no, and he's off. That didn't last long at all. And cars skating this way, and that we are 4 wide up to Druids and off. Into the wall is Hickling. He collects a Radicals car. I think that was Lotterman, and they're all just bunching up into Druids. And from what was a relatively clean start in race 1, Dave, is pretty much the opposite of that in race 2.
Yeah, I had Daddy King tipped for the race win, I've got to be honest there. That's scuppered my chances. No, look, it's what we talked about before the race 1. Going into that first corner is just always a nightmare. It requires very, very disciplined driving from all drivers, and it didn't happen, and all hell breaks loose. But Lewis maybe breaking away here, and it's going to be very interesting to see whether Lorne Murray can catch up.
Addy King's race barely lasted a few seconds and barely even 100 metres, but Lorne Murray's now in second place. Third is Adam McNally, so he managed to survive. Fourth is Stephen Baxter, so after one Radicals car falls, as another one is able to scoop up the pieces. Then it's Dave Crozier in 5th, 7 positions gained from where he started. Then it's Lyndon Swaby, the Canadian, is in 6th, and side by side Baxter versus McNally here going into clearways. The 888 car there of Baxter trying to get through. No way through just yet. Running out the top 10, Gavin Wakefield, Cesare Rizzo, Stephen Minton and Steve Walker. So quite a few positions gained by all of these guys as we come across the line to complete lap 1. Oh, is that car going wide? That is Stephen Baxter, and he's lost a few positions
Adam,
there.
sorry to jump in,
Yep.
but you will never guess who's all together at the back of the pack.
Is it Hackerson and Paul Smith and a certain Diogo Melra?
It is, but Paul Smith has gone up into the barriers and all hell is breaking loose here. And there goes Benjamin Hackerson. I believe that was taken out by one of the cars that was crossing over the field there.
Another car, if that's Gavin Wakefield. He was up inside the top 10 when I was going through the top 10 a moment ago. And he went off on his own.
Yeah, so Smith, Hackerson and Diogo Melro were all together there. Melro has survived it, he's moved up, but it is an absolute melee down.
Yeah, and just in front of him, you've got a fantastic battle here between Adam Hadfield. We've got Alex Lauritsen. Plenty of cars involved here, and they're all going all over the place going into Westfield Bend. Oh, number 9 gets hit by Matt Bunn. Matt Bunn carrying on his way. The number 69 car, Chepelewski, getting up the inside there into Sheen Curve. Some big names here trying to get some places back. Of course, all these guys starting further down the order after the reverse grid. And plenty of Team Discovery cars in the mix. 3 of them all together, and Lauritsen, Diogo Melro and Stelian Chepelewski. Have a line then to complete lap 2. Lewis Bibby has a 2.3 second lead over Lorne Murray, so you can see who's already in the catbird seat for the race 2 win. But you cannot take your eyes off this battle further down the grid. Cesare Rizzo and Scott Malcolm, they're having a battle. This is over 8th and 9th. Going into Druids.
And that's number 64, Tristan Bottas, getting taken out there, and it's all kicking off. They all bunch up at Druids there, and it's very difficult because we can talk about the battle for, say, first, second and third, but it's difficult to talk about the battle for what is effectively from 10th all the way down to 25th place.
This is crazy going into 30s. Oh, and Max Wright gets hit and he's over and nearly collects Hackerson. He lands back on all 4s, but that's not what the Automech driver wanted at all there. He was in 17th place when we started the lap, but he got into Nathan Davis, got collected by the Team Hard car of Alex Lauritsen, and over she went, Dave.
Yeah, it's fine. It'll buff out, just a wee trip to the pits. But who's that? Number 53. That is Stuart McFadden. That car is looking a little bit worse for wear. That is desperately needing a little bit of polish right now because that car is looking pretty heavily mangled. But he's still fighting on and still putting in some decent lap times. And there's one of the cars up there.
That's Adam Hadfield, yeah, everyone's steering this way and that to try and avoid the Radicals car. I think they all do so pretty effectively. Stuart McFadden trying to get out of the way. I think he's trying to get into the pits. He's trying to find an opening. And nearly gets collected by Alex Lauritsen, but McFadden finds his way into the pit lane. And just as you were saying, Dave, yeah, a lot of damage to that car of Stuart McFadden, and he is now in the pits. Max Wright also back in the pits as well. Well, we'll take stock of the top 10. It's Lewis Bibby leading, Murray second, McNally third, Ayres fourth. That's relatively calm. Then it's Swaby, Crozier, Minton, then Walker. Then it's everyone else behind. We've got Adam Delmont leading this huge train, which includes Scott Malcolm in that 74 car. We've got Cesare Rizzo, we've got Rob Plumley, and many of these guys have gained tons of positions from where they started. So, and hence why they've got so much damage on their cars, Dave.
Yeah, it is incredible, and that's the thing. It's like you can quote about the top 10, but going any further back, and it's absolutely pointless to mention places because they change every 15 seconds. We promised you drama and action, and I tell you what, race 2 has not failed to deliver.
Yeah, we've still got 9 minutes to go. Scott Malcolm under increasing pressure from Cesare Rizzo. This is over the battle of 9th and 10th, and just behind those two we've got Thorstein Helgeson trying to get past Plumley. He's made a right hash of Sterling's, and that's going to allow the car of Skip Stevens, Martini livery of course, to try and get by. Helgeson having an awful entry there, and he needs to realise that Stevens is there, and he does. Who's that behind? That's Tristan Bodis in that Gulf liveried Kia, and whoa, look at that, that was Helgeson chopping across the front of that Kia Optima. And Tristan Bodis not taking the best line at all through Paddock Hill Bend. That's going to allow Thomas Gibson up the inside into Druids, and that should be about 13th place, 14th place for him. But they're going 2 by 2 on the exit day.
Yeah, all I can say is yeah about that, because trying to keep up with these guys is absolutely impossible. But what thrilling action they're giving us here in race 2, and I think that was Benjamin Hackison just looking back there on the exit of that corner that was going very, very wide indeed, and that's number 74 that spun off Scott Malcolm, and there's more carnage going on behind him. I think that looked like Matthew. No, it wasn't quite. I'm trying to find out who that was that went into the Armco there.
Yeah, it was Scott Malcolm that went off. He was quarter panelled by Cesare Rizzo, just trying to find the other car. It was Diogo Melro. Oh, dear me. Diogo Melro facing the wrong way on the straight walk through Pilgrim's Drop, and he's got back going again. But Diogo Melro is in 29th place with a lot of damage to the rear end of his Kia.
Yeah, somebody needs to get that boy a swear jar, because he's going to be rich after tonight. I tell you that. He is not having any luck whatsoever, and that car looks heavily broken. He's going to be very lucky to get that back into the pits, Adam.
Well, it's action all over the place here. We don't really know what positions to look at, but one battle that could be interesting is between Maciek Sakovic and Stephen Baxter. Those two were changing positions at the end of the last lap. Sakovic in 14th place, again a 13 spots. Baxter under pressure from Matt Bunn as well, very quick driver there in the CQR team, very famous team in Kia Racing of course, run by BTCC race winner Ash Sutton and Jack Sears trophy winner of course. Matt Bunn trying to get some more positions. He's got Sterling Chapelewski behind him and has got a good run on the exit of Graham Hill Bends towards 30s. Might have Stephen Baxter here, up the inside he goes, and that is Matt Bunn through into 15th place, and Chapelewski might fancy his chances as well. Oh no, oh dear, and off into orbit goes Stephen Baxter, and yeah.
I think he's going to need a medic after that one, and that looks like Chepelewski's car is gone up in flames. Lots and lots of smoke coming out that one. He's going to be very, very interesting to see whether or not he can get that back to the pits, but that is his race 2 well and truly up in smoke. Get it? But back to 4th place. I tell you what, Lyndon Swaby is leading an absolute choo-choo train of cars here. There is at least 8 cars involved here. They're all scoring about as David Crozier and Steve Walker are duking it out. That's a terrible exit from Lyndon Swaby. It compromises his exit, and they are nudging each other out the way as they come over the start-finish straight.
Plumley up the inside into Paddock Hill Bend, car 147 up the inside, and Lyndon Swaby still sliding all over the place, the Canadian, and Plumley is through. Kip Stevens might fancy his chances in the background, side by side between That is Helgeson up the inside of Bodis. Bodis is going to get the cut back on the exit though. And please don't quarter panel each other, guys, because we've seen plenty of that whenever someone's tried to do a cutback manoeuvre, and instead they just hit each other going into Graham Hill Bend. But meanwhile, just behind those guys, Adam Hadfield, Cesaro Rizzo and Richard Gore all at it as well. And sideways is the car of Cesaro Rizzo, and it just goes from bad to worse for Team Discovery. They try to work their way through the field, and they always end up going into the Armco barrier, and it's in that spot of this track again, Dave. Dear me.
Yeah, it's the very, very similar spots that we've seen action and accidents in all throughout this race so far. But what a race we're getting between Delmont Crozier and Plumley here for 7th, 8th and 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th place.
Yeah, they're just going through Sheen Curve now. Lyndon Swaby's dropped. Oh, cars all over the place into Sheen Curve. Don't know what was going on there. Tristan Bodis had to go through the gravel. He's got back onto the track, and I think it's all settled down just a little bit now. But yeah, huge battle going on behind the battle for 4th place. Adam Hadfield getting past Richard Gore. That is Hadfield up into 14th place. But yeah, as we come across the line, we've got 4 minutes to go. Time's just flying by in this second race of the day. And here comes Minton. He's just got past... Oh, he's just lapped Stephen Baxter. I do apologise. Plumley up the inside of Lyndon Swaby. Oh, that is close. That is very close there. Rob Plumley just hitting the right rear quarter panel of the Canadian there. Going into Graham Hill Bend, and Kip Stevens, he is also a man on the move as well. Plumley up the inside then into Surtees. That is surely the position. Swaby sliding, and Stevens might fancy his chances. And we're going to go side by side towards Hawthorns. Stevens slots in behind the car of Lyndon Swaby. And now we're heading down the hill towards Hawthorns, Dave.
Yeah, and I've got my eyes on the train behind them, led by Matthew Bunn, I believe that is in position 13. Number 11 is leading Adam Hadfield, Richard Gore, Tristan Bodis, Nathan Davis, Thomas Gibson, Paul Smith and Benjamin Haxon. It's at least a 9-car train that is fighting for 13th place at the moment. They're starting to spread out a little bit, but they're going to be very quickly catching on that train for 5th place.
Yeah, Kip Stevens was able to get the move done on Lyndon Swaby there, but yeah, this battle is very close. We've got Richard Gore, Tristan Bodis. Those two are very close indeed, going towards Clearways. We've just got under 3 minutes left of this race here at Brands Hatch. Race 2 of 3 in the opening race meeting of the BSR Kia Cup Series. We've got Richard Gore leading them over the line. We've got Bodis behind him. Then it's Thomas Gibson, Paul Smith and Ben Hackerson. 2 Gulf livery cars there. The GBR Brit Modeler team, of course. And now they're heading up towards Druids Bend, up Hailwood Hill. And Gibson trying to go for the outside as one car locking the rears in front of those guys, going through one of the slowest parts of the circuit. Paul Smith trying to get past Gibson as well. These guys just at the rear of this very long train. Oh, up the inside, it's Steve Walker. He's getting passed by Maciek Sakovic in that Team Mad car. And Walker getting forced onto the grass almost on the exit. Now it's all about the straight line speed down Pilgrim's Drop into Hawthorns. And looks like Steve Walker will just be able to hold on, but Sakovic is going to go around the outside. This could be interesting going into Westfield.
Yeah, Sakovic has really got the bit between his teeth, and indeed he makes the move. A huge move for number 8 there, Maciej Sakovic. And that, my friends, is some testicular fortitude, if you'll excuse the saying, of the highest order there. Holding your own round the outside, round those corners there. Real determination there, and a fantastic move.
Tell you what, you'd be holding your breath as Vorstein Helgeson's under pressure from Adam Hadfield. Adam Hadfield up the inside, and Helgeson's into the gravel, and that's going to allow Nathan Davis and possibly Helgeson through, and the 2 teammates nearly come together on the exit of Clearways, and that's going to allow Tristan Bodis in that Brit Modeler car. Little look up the inside into Paddock Hill Bend. Just under a minute to go. I believe we have started the final lap of the race. It's going to be touch and go whether we get another lap in, but all sorts of action again as up the inside goes Bodis, and he's hit Helgeson, and they're stuck together, and around goes Helgeson. And Helgeson just gives Bodis a look of, what are you doing that for, my friend? And
But I tell you
Max
what,
right
that's
through.
stopped right on the exit of Druids as well. That's a really, really bad place to stop. Thankfully, Boris has got moving again, but a lot of damage there to Helgeson. Not so much from the initial contact there, Adam, but he did strike heavily the barrier as he was trying to get that car turned round, as we see number 47 of Ches Rizzo making his way past as well, that helpless car of Thorsten Helgeson. And yeah, that is such a shame to see the end of the race like that, but such is racing.
Well, we've got 8 seconds left on the clock. I'm just going to see if Lewis Bibby is going to make it. 5, I believe this is the final lap of the race. It is. So Lewis Bibby, a 6-second lead and a win in race 2 of the day here at Brands Hatch. Second is going to be Lorne Murray. But who's going to get third? It's Adam McNally, just ahead of Stephen Minton. And then 5th, it's going to be, I think it's going to be Adam Delmont. It's Stephen Minton there. My timing screen's just basically crashed, that's what's happened. And
yeah, so it's Stephen Minton in 5th place. No, Adam Delmont, sorry, in 5th place. Kip Stevens in 6th. Robert Plumley in 7th. Lyndon Swaby getting 8th place. David Crozier in 9th. Maciek Sakowicz with that stunning overtake move there, getting 10th place. Steve Walker in 11th. Matt Bunn in 12th. Adam Hadfield, who's right in the thick of it all the way through, getting 13th place. Nathan Davis, I expected more from him, Adam. He takes 14th. Richard Gordon 15th. Thomas Gibson down in 16th place, and Paul Smith down in 17th place. How's your time screen? Is it back up, Adam?
yeah, it's back up. I'm just wondering if some drivers don't realise the race is over. Some of them are actually still racing as if it's the final lap. I can tell you the race is definitely over because the checker flag did come out. But yeah, interesting. Lewis Bibby then, 5.9 second lead at the end, Dave, and you did pick him for the race 1 win. And he might have delivered a race too late, but yeah, stunning class drive from him.
That's fine, my credibility is restored, Adam. I'm happy with that one. No, I did make the point, he is an incredibly fast driver. Did exactly the same as the leader in race 1 there, just out in front. I mean, no such luck obviously this time round for Cheplevsky in race 2. But yeah, I mean, you kind of just leave the rest of the field to fight amongst themselves. I mean, let's not give any discredit as well. Lorne Murray, incredibly fast driver, and that showed the fact that he was managed to get away from Adam McNally, as I'm saying they're causing some hijinks on the lap into the pits there. Boys will be boys and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, a good recovery drive this race from Paul Smith and Benjamin Haxon down in 17th and 18th place respectively. But all the talk has got to be about Diogo Melro there. A second race, and that is a terrible, terrible start for his season so far, Adam.
He did recover to get a 22nd place in the end, but yeah, not what the start to the season he will have wanted, and he'll be hoping for better things, and maybe even a number 22 rolled for him in the reverse grid. We'll run you through the finishing order then, as Dave was running through it earlier. Lewis Bibby takes the win, 6 seconds ahead of Lorne Murray. Adam McNally 3rd, 4th Stephen Minton, 5th Adam Delmont, 6th Kip Stevens, 7th Rob Plumley, 18th Lyndon Swaby, 19th Dave Crozier, and Maciek Sakowicz rounding out the top 10. Cars that started inside the top 10 that finished there, only the top 3. 11th it was Steve Walker, 12th Matt Bunn, Adam Hadfield finishing in 13th, Nathan Davis 14th from 31st on the grid. That is a gain of many positions. Richard Gore finishing in 15th, 16th for Thomas Gibson, ahead of Paul Smith in 17th. Him and Ben Hackerson were together the entire race, Hackerson finishing in 18th. 19th for Cesario Rizzo and 20th for Stein Helgeson. 21st for Tristan Bodis, there's Diogo Melro, he finished in 22nd place in the end. Despite facing the wrong way on the exit of 30s, he only finished 37 seconds behind the leader. 23rd for Jason Greenfield, Gavin Wakefield 24th, 25th Ben Gregory, 26th Peter Van Gaal, 27th Craig Evans, 28th Jackie Lotterman, 29th Stuart McFadden, and then the cars one lap down or more. We had Jamie Ayres finishing in 30th, Stephen Baxter 31st, 32nd for Max Wright, 33rd Stelian Chapelewski blowing his engine, and his race pretty much going up in smoke. Finishing in 33rd there, 1 lap down, Scott Malcolm, the last classified finisher, so we get another full. The Scotsman will be on pole position for race 3. Alex Lauritsen, 35th, 2 laps down. Addy King, 3 laps down, so his adventure onto pole position didn't onto the front row of the grid for race 2 didn't go too well. Michael Barry, 37th, 3 laps down. Tobias Olsen, 38th, 9 laps down, and Gareth Hickling was off in the wall pretty much from the get-go. Finished in 39th. Well, it's time to get the reverse grid then going for the final time tonight. Race 3, 16 to 26. As always, and a few falls as well. Let's run you through the drivers that are eligible. Thomas Gibson, Paul Smith, Ben Hackerson, Cesare Rizzo, Forstein Helgeson, Tristan Bodis, Diogo Melro, Jason Greenfield, Gavin Wakefield, Ben Gregory and Peter Van Gool. And the number is landed in. It is another full! I'll tell you what, we're not doing this on purpose, I assure you, but it is another full. And it is Scott Malcolm onto pole position for race 3. The Scottman's on pole. And as if it was a thing of magic, Stelin Chepelevsky, the man who blew his engine in race 2 after getting involved in a bit of contact, he's going to be on the front row, so we could have our first repeat winner of the series. Max Wright starting in 3rd. Tell you what, a very Scottish flavour to this 3rd race of the day. Stephen Baxter starting in 4th, and Jamie Ayres starting in 5th, Dave.
Yeah, and as you've just pointed out, you'd be a very silly person not to bet on Chepelevsky for a second race win. Scott Malcolm, very talented driver, but I think Chepelevsky's going to get past him in the first couple of laps, maybe even into turn 1. And if Chepelevsky can get to the front there, I'm struggling to see who within that first 10 cars is going to have the pace that's going to be able to catch him up.
We won't have long to find out. We're going to step aside here for a few moments here on Apex Racing TV and iRacing Live. But join me, Adam Bath, Dave Christie and Sam Kumo after the break, where we'll be getting set for the final race of the day here in the BSR Kia Cup Series at Brands Hatch.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance Series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate in races ranging from 3 hours to 24 hours. Additional partners include NASCAR, IMSA, V8 Supercars, IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst 1000, Daytona 500, and many more. iRacing.com, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car.
Truex in the outside, contact made. 56 slides it at a 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Welcome back to Brands Hatch and welcome back to race 3 of 36 in the BSR Kia Cup series. We're here at Brands Hatch, the Grand Prix circuit for the final race of the day. Adam Bath here with Dave Christie and Sam Kumo on the cameras. And after that race 2 race, Dave, I didn't think we could top it, but once again we've gone and got ourselves a full reverse grid for race 3 and we've got to do it all again.
Yeah, that's right. Quite a hefty repair bill for quite a few of the teams this weekend. A lot of damage to a lot of the cars, but yeah, it's shaping up to be an absolute stonker of a third race. And it's all eyes are going to be on Chepelevsky, because he is the man that is in the real strong seat here for taking a second win out of the first 3 races. He's on second place on this reverse grid. Of course, it's going to be Scott Malcolm who takes pole position for this third and final race this evening. And you've really got to put it past Chepelevsky for getting a second win.
Yeah, Serhiy Chepelevsky will be starting on the front row of the grid for race 3, and it could look like that he'll be on course to take his second win of the season, but you can't rule out any of the other drivers, especially when you consider Addy King was on the front row of the grid and didn't last in a corner. Same could happen to Chepelevsky, of course. We've just got under 20 seconds to go before we head down to the grid. And then we'll be getting underway for race 3 of the day. Just to clear something up, Steve Walker, this is his first season in the Kia. My fault getting confused with the other Steve Walker that was racing in the BSR TC a few seasons ago. But now we've got that out of the way, we can head down to the grid as someone cars on their roof in.
That was Benjamin Haxon getting poked rudely inside there by Thomas Gibson. But very fast time there for Benjamin Haxon, so he's going to be one to watch down in 17th.
Ready for the grid then. Scott Malcolm starts on pole position, Serhiy Chepelevsky second, Max Wright third, Stephen Baxter starting in fourth, fifth is Jamie Ayres, sixth Joe McFadden, seventh Jackie Lotterman, eighth Craig Evans, ninth Peter Van Gool, and 10th is Ben Gregory, 11th is Gavin Wakefield, 12th Jason Greenfield, 13th Diogo Melro, 14th Tristan Bodis, 15th Forstein Helgerson, Cesare Rizzo in 16th, 17th Hackerson, 18th Paul Smith, 19th Thomas Gibson, and 20th is Richard Gore. And now the revs begin to rise, and the lights are on. And we're underway here for race 3 here at Brands Hatch. It's a good start from Scott Malcolm away from the line. Serhiy Chepelevsky might be under pressure here from Stephen Baxter going into Paddock Hill Bend. They're all taking it pretty gingerly. Oh, contact, and it's a Radical's car. Peter Van Gool's been hit, and he comes back across the field, and they all scatter. Cars going this way and that. Paul Smith into the Armco barrier to Druids. Two Radical's cars around. They might have to deploy the safety car here, but they're all trying to get away again. And Paul, it's just a huge melee down at Druids.
Yeah, you just don't know where to look. It was all kicking off at Druids as well, and Chepelevsky is really trying hard to catch up now.
Car off. It's Scott Malcolm. Our pole sitter's off. Dear me, what will happen to him? He was off in 30s. I don't know if he did it on his own, or he might have had a little bit of help. Just looking back on a replay. Oh, and I can't see it. So Max Wright, problems for him and problems for Scott Malcolm. Sorry, in the early going, he is now down in what is effectively about 4th or 5th, 7th place. I think he is now. So terrible start there for Scott Malcolm. But anyway, Serhiy Chepelevsky leads. Second, Stephen Baxter. Third, Max Wright. Fourth, Joe McFadden. Fifth, Jamie Ayres. Sixth is Ben Gregory. But those two are now going side by side towards Clearways, Dave.
Yeah, and just looking back at that instant with Scott Malcolm, it was completely solo incident. He was too wide going on that left-hander there, took all of the curb, jumped up onto the grass, the car squirreled about, and he got forced wide. Thankfully, not too much damage, just a little bit of bruised pride there, but Chepelevsky, as I warned, he's away out in front, but I tell you what, Stephen Baxter's holding him to it.
The Automet cars coming together on the exit of Paddock Hill Bend. Joe McFadden and Max Wright very close to taking each other out of the race at the start of lap 2, but they were able to hold on to their 3rd and 4th positions. Jamie Ayres still holding his own against Ben Gregory. Then it's Diogo Melro. Maciek Sagovic is a man on the move. He's side by side on the exit of Graham Hill Bend with what looks like Jason Greenfield. And Sakovic is through. So Sakovic now up to 14th place. That is 11 positions gained for him. Paul Smith, he was in the wall at Druids, but somehow he's still going. And he's up in 15th place. He's just about to get past Jason Greenfield as well as they head down Pilgrim's Drop towards Hawthorns.
Yeah, great race from Paul Smith there, and he looks like he's going to easily take that position, and indeed he does. Makes the move stick on number 72, Jason Greenfield, and did it well and truly before that turn. So moving up towards the start of the field as well, Adam, and Stephen Baxter is certainly holding Chepelevsky to task there, less than 0.5 of a second behind the current race leader, but Baxter a little bit wide there, and that car is all over the place as it goes into the final turn there, coming across the start-finish straight, and yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what the gap is now.
Very close, about 0.4 of a second between Baxter and Chepelevsky. Just in the background, Ayres getting past Wright, and Wright's getting past Ayres on the exit of Paddock Hill Bend. And he might be under pressure here from Ben Gregory, who's looking up the inside. He is, and he gives him a little tap out the way. Is there going to be any retributive action from that from Jamie Ayres? Ayres nearly getting quarter final from Diogo Melro on the exit there of Druids going into Graham Hill Bend. But it's 2 positions gained, 1 for Gregory, 1 for Max Wright. And Jamie Ayres now down to 7th place. He might lose another one here. Diogo Melro trying to get past. Well, no way through there. And yeah, Sten Chepelevsky not gaining too much ground on Stephen Baxter at the moment. The gap hovering around 0.4 of a second. And Baxter lapping similar times to the BSR TC veteran. And we could be in actually for a good race at the front at this rate.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, Baxter's not letting him get away. Baxter definitely has a much tighter line, but Chepelevsky and Baxter, the first and second place cars, coming up on the back marker of Stephen Minton, and that looked like Adam Hadfield crabbing his way across the gravel trap there.
Yeah, definitely. Oh no, crash behind them, and it's a auto mech, and it was Cesare Rizzo getting into Craig Evans. Yeah, made a huge incident there. We saw in the Seat Super Cup a few years ago, a huge crash there that ended up going into over the Armco on the right hand side. But looking on the replay, oh yeah, and it was Cesare Rizzo just getting a bit of the quarter panel there of Craig Evans.
Yeah, it's been a pretty brutal race for a lot of the drivers here, but as we go back up to the leaders, Stephen Baxter now just over 0.4 of a second behind Stelian Chepelevsky, and that time I think was brought down purely to the back marker that was Stephen Minton that they had to pass there.
Maciej Sakovic up more places. I don't know what happened at Druids, but he's gained a few again, and he's up to 11th place now. Next car on his hit list is Adam Delmont, who's gained 20 positions since the start of the race. Paul Smith in the middle of a Brit modeler sandwich here, as Diogo Melro just further up the road gets past Jamie Ayres. So Jamie Ayres down another position, but yeah, back to my point about Paul Smith. He's got Tristan Bottis in front of him, and Tobias Olsen behind him, and Olsen having a little look there at the inside into Westfield, and yeah, Paul Smith in a tricky spot in the moment, Dave.
Yeah, but Tobias Olsen, we've got to speak about him. Started 38th on the grid and now up into 14th place, 24 places. Absolutely incredible move there, and he is right over the back, and there's contact between number 64, that's Tristan Bottis, and Paul Smith coming together there. Bottis going onto the grass there, and there is no love lost here between the teammates. Ooh. And it is number 33 and 91, that's Tobias Olsen and Paul Smith now coming together. Paul Smith is basically just wanting some little physical love from anybody that comes into contact with him.
Paul Smith, oh, he's up the inside, he's got the inside of Olsen. Someone's turning into him almost down the straight there. I've done that to Paul Smith before and it doesn't end well. Oh, he's looking up the inside, and this is just allowing cars behind to get drawn into the battle as well. Jason Greenfield and Lewis Bibby also in the mix here. And this is all over 13th place. Paul Smith leading the way in 13th, and it's Olsen 14th, Bottis 15th, and then behind them the cars going side by side, Greenfield and Bibby. And it's Bibby trying to get the move done around the outside. Greenfield will hold his own, but Bibby goes around the outside on the exit of Surtees and has that position. So Bibby up into 16th place now.
Yep, and Tobias Olsen is really making a move here. He's got the lights on. He's wanting to try and distract Paul Smith as much as he can. And I'll tell you what, he is definitely the faster driver right now. He is weaving all over the road as he's trying to distract Paul Smith in any way that he can. Paul Smith currently in 13th place from Tobias Olsen. And Tobias Olsen really puts the car in sideways. He's off onto the grass and he tries to recover. He thinks he's just going to keep that place from number 64, Tristan Boris, pushing, and I tell you what, Adam, that's what happens when you get 8 minutes into the race with these tyres. The car just loses grip whatsoever, and he's going to be a very lucky boy if he can hold on to that place.
Yeah, and I think that might have happened to, oh no, in second place, Baxter is being hit by, Baxter is hit, Stuart McFadden. McFadden's through into second place. I was just about to mention that Baxter went off earlier in the lap, and that is Stuart McFadden through, and it's all kicking off. Oh no, massive incident, and it is Minton, and it is right off, and
Max Wright rejoins onto the track though, and his car's having to squirm and really try and get past him there. That was a really dangerous rejoin. Not much choice for Max Wright there, but a huge incident going towards the middle section of that track there. And wow, what an accident and what an end to the race for Max Wright. He's going to struggle, Adam, to get that car back out onto the circuit. But what a move for Stu McFadden there, getting past Stephen Baxter. And we didn't really talk about him on the build-up to race 3, but an incredibly talented young driver there. And I was kind of hoping that he was going to get himself a little podium this weekend, but he is definitely catching up to Cheplevsky.
Yeah, he is 3.9 seconds though, the gap between them. That's going to be too fast for Stuart McFadden to get to Stalin Cheplevsky in just over 6 minutes. That shows you the amount of time that they lost when they were battling down at Druids. But McFadden, the new second place man, started 6th on the grid, now up to second place as they go over the timing line to start lap 7 of the race. Cheplevsky on his own now, as off goes Baxter again into the gravel trap at Paddock Hill Bend. Should get going again, but this should hand Jamie Ayres a position on a plate. The same for Ben Gregory as well, and in the background Diogo Melro and Nathan Davis trying to knock spots each other as well. So Baxter, it's just all falling apart from him in these closing stages of the race day.
Yeah, that's right, and you have mentioned tyres being an issue previously, but it is interesting to see the likes of Cheplevsky able to manage the same sort of tyres as well. It just depends if you're getting caught up in that midfield melee. If you're having to squirm about and fight and really put a lot more heat into the tyres, Adam, it really catches up with you towards the end of the race.
Stevens has got past Lyndon Swaby, but Lewis Bibby and Paul Smith are continuing to battle down the straight towards Hawthorns. This is over 12th and 13th. Smith up the inside, Bibby on the outside. This is getting pretty close, and this is allowing the Brit modeler cars to get back in the mix going into Westfield Bend. Oh, Bibby trying to go around the outside, and this is going to allow Olsen the opportunity. He needs to get a place, and he's going to go up the inside into Sheen Curve, and he is through. So that is Olsen back through. And he might fancy Paul Smith. Oh, that's close going into Stirling's, but Paul Smith holding his own in this battle. And yeah, it's all bunching up again. This battle never seems to end between these four going into Clearways.
Oh, Adam, this is going to end in tears. You just know what you see, the weaving that they're doing. And number 33, Paul Smith, leads the group through there, and I'm trying to see who that is that's caught up behind them there. The number 38, and there's a contact. The pair of them have taken each other out. 91 and 33, Paul Smith and Tobias Olsen. How daft can you get? There was really no need for them to be doing that. And yeah, tears before bedtime there.
Yeah, he did say it would end in tears, and it's not over yet. Bodis and Bibby getting together there, going into Graham Hill Bend. That is Bibby through, and that is Bibby into 12th place now. So that battle coming to a head there with just under 4 minutes to go in the race on lap 8. Running through the top 10, Stalin Cheplevsky leads Stuart McFadden by 3.4 seconds. He's going to be on for his second win of the season. Third is Max Wright. Fourth, no, it's not Max Wright. Third is Ben Gregory. Fourth is Jamie Ayres. Fifth is Stephen Baxter. Sixth is now Nathan Davis. 7th, Scott Malcolm. 8th, Diogo Melro. 9th, Maciek Sakovic. And 10th is Adam Delmont.
But that was Stephen Baxter having a wild moment there, getting it all sorts of sideways. Just managed to hold on and to keep his place. But I think he's just ahead of number 73, Nathan Davis. So I'm trying to find out where he's dropped down to now, because he was all sorts of sideways. I think he's still in 5th. It's just Nathan Davis who's jumped up to 6th place.
Gregory wants... Oh, it's just Gregory trying to get past Max Rice. I thought it was a battle for position, but it's not. And Gregory just needing to get past the Automech car, and he does. But yeah, Nathan Davis trying to get past Stephen Baxter here in the closing stages of the race, and Baxter trying to get past Jamie Ayres as well. So quite a nice train going along here. Malcolm, Melrose and Sakovic. And then all the way back to Forsten Halkerson, who is a lap down, but Stephen Minton, who's also a lap down. Delmont there in 10th place. All settled down now inside the final 2 minutes of the race, but no, in the BSR Kia Cup Series, after the first 2 races we've had today, I'm sure another battle will spring up out of nowhere.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that one. I'm just looking at the battle here for the train between 4th place and 9th place of Jamie Ayres, Stephen Baxter, Nathan Davis, Scott Malcolm, Diogo Melro and Maciej Sakovic. All fighting it out here, and they are getting bunched up really tight. But just behind them as well, that looks like Cesare Rizzo and Lewis Bibby quite close to each other as well.
Bibby has been in the mix all the way through the evening, and yeah, they are very close. But we've now got a minute and a half to go, and I think we could be on the final lap. I think we've got about 2 laps to go actually. So we're starting the penultimate lap here at Brands Hatch. Ayres under pressure from Baxter going into Paddock Hill Bend, and in the background that is Sakovic trying to get to Diogo Melro. Melro wants a solid finish. Oh, and he gets into the back of Malcolm, and it all
honest
bunches up,
contact there from Nathan Davis. Yep, Nathan Davis hitting Stephen Baxter.
That's Melro off.
Oh, dearie me. And was that Nathan Davis that actually hit Melro then instead? I thought it was Baxter it looked like there was contact with, unless that was a completely unrelated incident. And that is Baxter going wide there. Can Nathan Davis get past Stephen Baxter? He locked up on the entry to that left-hander, and that's going to give Nathan Davis one heck of a chance to get the slipstream up here into the corner.
Yeah, it was 2 separate incidents, Dave. Davis and Baxter and Diogo Melro getting hit by Maciej Sakovic. Melro's got going again. He hasn't lost too many positions. He's in 9th, but Nathan Davis smelling blood in the water here, and he wants that 5th place away from Stephen Baxter. He should have one more lap to try and do it. Chepelevsky is going into clearways now with 20 seconds still on the clock, so we will have one more lap here around Brands Hatch, the Grand Prix circuit here in race 3 of the day in the BSR Kia Cup Series.
And do you know what?
Yeah.
I love being proved right here, Adam. I'd said that Lewis Bibby was going to get a race win. Fair enough, it wasn't in the first one. And I did say if Chepelevsky got a taste of being out in the lead, he was going to get that second win. There is nobody up in that top 10 that is even on par with the pace of Chepelevsky right now. The only ones that were really going to be any close to him were perhaps going to be Lewis Bibby and some of the ones that are maybe further down the field though. But it's looking like it's going to be a fantastic win, hopefully for Chepelevsky.
Yeah, the drivers are going to have their work cut out this season, judging from these 3 races we've seen today, to stop Stelin Chepelevsky. He's just heading towards Hawthorns for the final time, but meanwhile, Stephen Baxter still continues to be harassed by Nathan Davis as we head out of Surtees. Jamie Ayres has disappeared, and that could be either a disconnect or a disqualification. I can't tell which it was. He's back again. Intermittent connection issues there for Jamie Ayres, and he could be under pressure from now Stephen Baxter and Nathan Davis in the final half a lap. The battle for the final, for 4th spots, is on now, going down the hill towards Sheen Curve.
Yep, and I tell you what else is great to see, 14th and 15th place, they've not learned their lesson at all. Paul Smith and Tobias Olsen still going absolute hammer and tongs. Tobias Olsen right on the back of Paul Smith here, and they are really going to come to blows surely anytime soon.
Stelin Chepelevsky then exits the final corner and takes his 2nd win of the season in 3 races. Fantastic job from him there. Stuart McFadden gets 2nd. Ben Gregory completes the podium as here comes that battle. Who is it going to be? It is Ayres 4th, Baxter 5th, Davis 6th, and Malcolm in 7th. But what about Bibby and the rest of them, Dave, as they come across the line?
Yeah, sorry, I was completely distracted there by this fight down
Rizzo.
the order there. But Paul Smith and Tobias Olsen coming across the line there. What a race, what a final lap for them two. But yeah, Cheplevsky getting the race win there. And I'll tell you what, absolutely delighted for little Stuart McFadden there. Fantastic race for him. Really, really held on. Not sure what happened on that final lap, whether Cheplevsky just decided to showboat a little bit. But the gap was down to 0.8 of a second there. And I think knowing Cheplevsky, I think he did just decide to back off a little bit. But fantastic second place there for Stu McFadden. Definitely one to watch this season. And a great result for Ben Gregory as well. Not one of the names that we're used to hearing up on the podium here.
Another fantastic third race here at Brands Hatch. And problems for Craig Evans in the late going. He comes across the line in 23rd place. Alexander Lauritsen, I think we might have lost him on the final lap of the race. He's finishing in 24th. And some big names again out early on. And most of those drivers involved in that huge incident that we saw in Paddock Hill Bend. We're running through the finishing order then. Stelian Cheplevsky takes his second win of the season. Stuart McFadden finishing in second as he drifts his way back to the pits. Ben Gregory finishing in third. James Hiers fourth. 5th for Stephen Baxter, 6th Nathan Davis, 7th Adam Delmont, 7th Scott Malcolm, 8th Adam Delmont, 9th Diogo Melro, and 10th for Maciek Sakovic. Lewis Bibby finishing in 11th, Cesaro Rizzo 12th, Tristan Bodis in 13th, Paul Smith 14th, Tobias Olsen finishing in 15th after starting in 38th place, again a 23 positions for him, 16th for Rob Plumley, 17th Kip Stevens, 18th for Lorne Murray, 19th Jason Greenfield, and 20th Lyndon Swaby. 21st for Gareth Hickling, 22nd for Richard Gore, Craig Evans 23rd, and then the car's one lap down or more. Most of these guys having to make a pit stop after the chaos we saw in the opening lap to this race. Alex Lauritsen 24th, one lap down, Max Wright 25th, Stephen Minton 26th, Peter Van Gaal 27th, Thorstein Helgerson 28th, Ben Hackerson 29th, and 30th for Gavin Wakefield. Thomas Gibson 31st, Adam McNally 32nd, Steve Walker 33rd, Dave Crozier in 34th, Adam Hadfield 35th, 36th, 7 laps down, Michael Barry, Addy King, Baptism of Fire to the BSR Kia Cup Series, finishing in 37th, 7 laps down, and Jackie Losserman and Matt Bunn out on the opening lap of the race. Obviously too much damage for those guys to continue. We could have some drivers joining us for interviews. We'll give them a few moments to gather their thoughts and calm themselves, and in some cases calm themselves down, I should say. But Dave, Stelian Cheplevsky, he's going to take some stopping this season if he continues to pull out these performances.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully we're very early into the season. It's literally the first weekend, and it's all to play for. But he's certainly laying down the gauntlet, hasn't he? Not just with taking the lead in the championship, but the way that he's done it as well. Really does set down a bit of a gauntlet for the rest of the contenders. More importantly than that, though, Adam, is the fact that there was nobody else that had a really consistent weekends like he did as well. So I think that's going to count majorly towards his season.
Well, we have got 2 tiers for this race. We did mention it at the beginning, but yeah, Tier 1 and Tier 2, and there will be 2 championships, one for the Tier 1 drivers and the Tier 2 drivers as well. Think of it as the Pro and the Pro-Am from the BSR TC. Well, we have got one driver ready for an interview, and it is none other than Paul Smith. Let's see if we can drag him in for a quick word, and here he is. Paul Smith, well, we'll start with race 1. You're at the front, you're battling with Diogo Melro and Ben Hackerson, and are we holding them up, or was Diogo Melro just getting a bit impatient to get by you towards the end of the race?
Those two were a lot quicker than me. They just had the pace of me on race pace. I put a stellar qualifying lap time. I don't know where that came from. But yeah, those two, I was just defending where I needed to defend around the track, and running side by side with Diogo for half a lap, and then unfortunately what happened between him and Ben, you don't want to see it end like that, because that was a cracking fight.
And race 3, I thought you were out because you were in the Armco barrier going into Druids, but you were able to soldier on and you got a 14th place at the end.
That is the hardest fought 14th place I have ever had. I won't lie about that, because I had the Gone Broke guys of Tristan and Tobias all over me. Tobias was getting a little bit jumpy and being a little bit aggressive there. I think he might need to sort of like watch it, but then again, I need to look at the replay. You know, there might be stuff that I could have done, but yeah, it was all getting a bit sort of aggressive there between us. But yeah, 14th place. I thought I was out because how the car was feeling straight after that incident, but I managed to get it round. I had no top speed. I couldn't turn right, which is ideal for this track.
Well, how would you rate your start to the season as a whole then? 3 really mixed bag races then?
Mixed bag is right. I mean, to be fair, the second race, I couldn't get past anybody. I didn't need to overtake anybody because I was just having people drop out left, right and centre in front of me, so I got a good result for that one. But, yeah, Brands, I've always seemed to have not done too bad around there, but it's not my strongest circuit. I'll be missing next week, which is a shame. But then I'll be back the week after.
Yeah, so you missed Suzuka, but yep. And before we let you go, do you want to send a quick shout out to anyone?
Oh, well, thank you very much. I don't normally get to do this. Yeah, thanks to CQR Club for helping support me through the last season of the BSR Pro Series, and then I don't know what will be for next season of the Pro Series. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, CQR Club, they helped me out. And 87 Productions as well, my good mate Joe. Thanks a lot.
Oh, Paul Smith, yeah. Mixed bag here at Brands Hatch, but yeah, good to see you on board for the BSR Kia Cup Series, and we hope to be speaking to you a bit more later this season.
Thanks, guys.
Paul Smith there, and should we get in another one? Let's see, we've got Scott Malcolm up for an interview, we've got Stuart McFadden, Ben Gregory. Who would you like to talk to, Dave?
Let's get both Scott and Stuart at the same time, since they're both Scots. I'll decipher for you. I'll do the translation. But yeah, so we're joined by Scott Malcolm and Stuart McFadden. Guys, mixed fortunes in that last race there. Scott, you were obviously on pole position there before that incident put you all the way down. Although to your credit, obviously you managed to hold up and still have a very, very respectable finish. Talk us through that opening lap, Scott.
Just the same as usual, losing concentration, that's all it was. Too busy watching my mirrors to see where Sterling was and forgetting where I was braking out in the grass, and game over more or less.
That's an excellent point, because obviously you're used to having some mid-pack finishes. What's the extra pressure like when you're suddenly thrust up onto that pole position?
I'm not going to say what I say in the chat to the rest of the guys because it's not broadcastable, but yeah, it's can be a bit scary up there, but I'll just try to dig away and see what happens.
Well, a brilliant recovery drive after losing it from pole, but Stu McFadden, you're no stranger to having a wee chat to us after the races. Stu, a fantastic second place for yourself, and a really good race there. Talk us through that one for yourself.
Well, first of all, I have to say a massive sorry to Max for the little contact I had at the first corner. But apart from that, my race was quite good. I kind of just had a really good start. I think I jumped 2 or 3 cars in the first lap, and then I just kind of and then I passed Max. And after that, I think it was Stephen Baxter. He went off. And I thought to myself, right, I need to take this opportunity now, because Brands Hatch is a very difficult track to overtake on. So I thought, right, I need to do it now, or it's going to be a couple of laps so I can go after Stellion. And I got past him, not the way I would have liked to go past him, but I got past him. So and then catching Stellion was obviously, I thought it was going to be very, very hard, but unfortunately I never caught him. But we can't be too fast. I got second place, so here we are.
Yeah, excellent result. And finally, a reasonable first weekend for you, Stu and Scott. Looking forward to Suzuka. Guys, what's your thoughts on next weekend's race?
I haven't had much practice in the Kia around Suzuka, but I know with the help that Scott's gave me and the great help that he's gave me over the past, I'm not sure that I'll like to be up the front, and I'm sure we'll work on it through the week.
Need to try slow you down a wee bit.
Well,
Scott, what about yourself? What's your thoughts for Suzuka?
I kind of like that track. Done it a few times in the Pro Series, done it a couple of times in the club. Yeah, should be pretty good. Depends what layout it is, but
it's a GP.
is it? Right, aye. I should be alright there. Kind of like that track.
Excellent. Well, best of luck for next weekend for the pair of you guys,
Thank
Scott
you.
Malcolm and Stu McFadden. Thanks very much for joining us tonight.
No bother, Dave, anytime. Cheers.
Cheers, Dave.
There we go. Bringing a Scottish flavour to the BSR Kia Cup Series broadcast tonight. And we'll send them back down to the interview room. There we go. Thanks, guys. There we go. And yeah, Dave, brilliant opening race meeting of the season. Brands Hatch, a typical touring car track, and once again, it's provided some good racing tonight.
Yeah, it's another example of why these series are really the pinnacle of sim racing. Fantastic flag for the sport, and yeah, it's been an exciting weekend. And cannot wait for Suzuka next week. It's yeah, I mean, I'm well known for my feelings towards the Kia, but I actually really enjoy it now, and it's one of the highlights of the weekend.
Well, we've still got two more races, and they are on tomorrow. We have got the IMSA Sports Car Series heading to the Nürburgring. That'll be on tomorrow at 16:45 GMT. I think it'll just be me in the box for that one, with Sam Kumo on the cameras. And then Sunday night, you and me are back again. We've got the Mazda MX-5s, so that'll be something interesting to watch. 3 more races there, and that will be underway about 8:15 GMT, I believe. And then Monday we've got the first race meeting of the ASORC series, which will be getting underway at 8 PM GMT for a 1-hour race there. That is another sports car series. I think me and Andrew Woodhouse will be along for that one with Sam Kumo on the cameras again. It's been a marathon of broadcasts for Sam. And yeah. Well, my thanks to Dave Christie for being here and covering the 3 races with me. We've had to look at plenty of action throughout the 3 races tonight. And what a start it's been to the BSR Kia Cup Series. Daniel Chepelewski, 2 wins out of 3. Can the rest of the field catch him when we head to Suzuka next week? Find out at the same time Saturday night on Apex Racing TV and iRacing Live. Till then, from me, Adam Bath, Dave Christie and Sam Kumo on the cameras, it is a very warm goodbye.